It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work.
Some people are divided by religion, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some people are divided by their greed, yeah. Some people are divided by deception, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some have a lot of money but still in need, yeah. The time has come to help your hurting brother. Time has come to think about your sister. Can't turn a blind eye to their need, yeah. Share some love to help your hurting brother. Share some love to help your fallen sister. One God, one faith, one destiny, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Well, everything around us is changing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nothing will ever be the same, yeah. Limitless scope for transformation, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yet no one has the answer for the pain, yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain, yeah? Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Stand for unity, yeah.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, if I had known? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another episode of The Raw Truth. And of course, it's an absolute pleasure just being back here with you again, another Monday evening. And every time to all our friends across the world, whether you're in the Caribbean region or you're uh, someplace across the other side of the world. North, South America, Africa, England, wherever you are, let me welcome you to the program. And of course, it's always a pleasure having you to share with us right here on The Raw Truth. So much has been happening, and when the day is over, goodness gracious, what can you say? It's just so much that's going on. And when the day is over, it doesn't make it any easier uh, when you stop to think about some of the foolishness that's happening across the world. It's really crazy. I thought that our people were rooted in decency, and practical thinking. But I'm wondering what in hell is happening. When the day is done, it seems we have lost our minds. You know, you don't need any more evidence of the fact that something is happening which has, I think we are gone cuckoo. And when the day is done, you look across the Caribbean region, and it is absolutely amazing when you see the things that are happening across the Caribbean region as we move into the 21st century, 21st, 22nd. What's going to happen in the Caribbean region? Where are we here in the Caribbean? What are we prepared to do about this within the Caribbean region? It gets very interesting as we watch. Will we have any offspring left in the Caribbean region at the end of 2021? Will we still have any offspring left by the end of 2022? Will we all be poisoned? Will we all be dead? Because none of us seem to be waking up to the fact that this is indeed a crisis. And it's not a crisis for COVID-19. It's a crisis for practical thinking, because we have lost our minds. All of us, it seems, have lost our minds. And we're all gone cuckoo in the head because we're not thinking anymore. Our politicians don't know what in God's name to do, and the people worse wondering, where the hell should we go? Politicians are lost as hell, and the people don't know where the hell they want to go. Who's going to save the people? Will the people not save themselves? Or are we waiting for Jesus to leave heaven and come down here to find us? Or God, for that matter? Who will come? Let's start thinking practical. Yes? Tonight, we'll be looking at the madness across the Caribbean region. And the madness it is. Where are we going to stop? Where are we going to catch ourselves as a people? Where are we going to find ourselves as a people within the Caribbean region? You look across the great USA and other parts of the world, and oh my goodness, the madness seems to have been cranked up to what? If you were to measure it in Fahrenheit, of how much degrees you think it would be right now? You look in the Caribbean region, and all the Caribbean prime ministers seem to be following the madness, I think. Yes? Anything the USA does, the Caribbean prime ministers do the same thing. Is it that they are short of a brain to think, or they are just monkey see, monkey do? Is that the case? We'll find out tonight as we invite our friends from all over the Caribbean region to talk with us as to exactly what they're seeing in their neck of the woods in the Caribbean region. A very interesting production it is tonight. And of course, if you are listening, wherever you're watching us from, share the live with all your friends, because it's going to be absolutely very interesting tonight as we bring to you some very interesting people from across the Caribbean region. Let me welcome all our guests. They're all sitting in the waiting room. And wow, what can I say? I'm seeing my friends from all over the Caribbean region as they come in. And for those of you who are joining us, watching the live, share. Let me check my comment box to see what's going on here. Yes, I'm seeing Trinidad. I'm seeing UIC Jamaica present. Awesome. Good night to all of you. Goodness gracious. Yes, the chat is coming alive. Kayan Roberts McCoy.
I'm not sure where you're from. Can you indicate where you're watching from? It would be nice to see where you're watching from. Yes? Um, yes. Tell us where you're watching from so we can feature your. Oh, Grenada is in the house. Of course, Grenada is in the house. Yes? Amazing. Yes, I'm seeing Grenada. Amazing. Antigua is in the house. Trinidad is in the house. Jamaica is in the house. Come on, tell us where you're watching from so we can at least feature you. Share this with all your friends because it's going to be an amazing presentation. All right. We will be getting back to you in a minute. Of course, the phones are ringing off the hook. But until we come back, let me take another wise word, and then we'll get right back to you in a minute.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Okay, welcome back. And of course, you're live with us on The Raw Truth. This is Kenny G, your host, and I'll be here with you till maybe about 10 o'clock. Normally on a Monday evening, the show goes for 2 hours. And time does fly when you're having fun. And it makes it very interesting here as we sit in to soak up the information, as it has always been right here on The Raw Truth. If you are watching us right now and you are not a member of PSI Network, please go to Facebook and like the page on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Yes, subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you're locked in to follow whatever we do here. Yes, every Monday evening, at least we bring you some very interesting information from across the world. What's happening in the Caribbean region? Caribbean madness, is it? Yes, absolutely. Some crazy things are happening in some of the countries across the Caribbean region. And my goodness, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We've been hearing a lot coming out of Jamaica, Trinidad, and it's just in passing. A lot has been coming out of St. Vincent, and that is just in passing. What's really happening across the Caribbean region? Well, this evening we have quite a few guests, and they will be bringing it to you in living color. As you join us, please share this live with all your friends, wherever they are across the world, so they can tune in to follow this development as we bring it to you live out of Jamaica, Antigua, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Vincent, and where else. Of course, it's a process as we continue to link you with the peoples across the Caribbean region. Let me see if I can open the line to, let me get Marcia Duncan in. She's our host, our friend from Antigua. And of course, she has quite a bit. I'm sure she has a hell of a lot to tell us about what is happening in Antigua. as their prime minister don't get crazy. I'm not sure what the hell is going on. Good evening, Marcia. How you doing? We're not hearing you, honey. Turn your audio on. I'm sure we're not hearing you. Yes?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, in living color. How are you?
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure having you. And of course, welcome to the Raw Truth on PSI Network. Yes?
Thank you. That's
Well,
how I like it.
We've been hearing a hell of a lot coming out of your country. What in hell is happening in Antigua?
Oh boy. Well, there's a lot that is happening. I mean, we are, if you want it raw, I'm just going to tell you, we're witnessing firsthand the crude behavior of our government in its quest to vaccinate the population of Antigua. I guess as majority or all is what they're aiming for. There are regulations in effect, the mandates for the vaccines, which has resulted in public servants not being able to go to work if they are unvaccinated. If they do show up for work unvaccinated, that is an offense. And if they refuse to leave when they're asked to leave the premises, that could result in a fine of about $500 or imprisonment for 1 month.
Uh-oh.
That is what is happening. And the mandates, the vaccination mandate is actually moving to the private sectors now. So people who are working for private companies, private company owners are now being pressured. And the employees also, as a result, are being pressured to
You're sure you're living in the Caribbean region?
Well, this is what's happening. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. There is this propaganda now that's happening where everyone who has died, I'm sure it's the same or similar with other countries, people who are listening in, I'm sure we'll hear from them, but everyone who has died, it is always made to seem as though they have died of COVID and they were unvaccinated. That is the song everyone is singing, regardless of what I myself have witnessed firsthand. I have lost a dear friend close to me who had suffered from cancer for a very long time. She was given this time to a time period, a short time of a few weeks to live months ago. And she lived longer than she was expected to live, but she suffered slowly, got to the point where it was spreading to her lungs. She was unable to breathe. They called the ambulance because it looked like she was passing, took her to the hospital, and apparently they got a call that she had tested positive for COVID, and her death was listed on the recent list of COVID deaths as a COVID death, although she was due to die many months ago from cancer. So that is the first time I can only share what I've witnessed firsthand, although I am aware, based on my outspokenness, a lot of people have contacted me and shared their personal stories. They're not my stories to tell. And I do have a few more personal stories that I won't share right now. Maybe later on I may have the time to. I don't want to take up all the time at first, but that has only shown me that there is deception that's taking place, and there should be no need for any bit, even just once. Any one lie, if the truth in itself was so convincing, if the facts were so convincing, if the numbers were so convincing, why lie about one person?
Listen, you have until 10 o'clock tonight, and all of you will get a chance to share with us exactly what is happening. I think the time has come for us to hear from our people across the Caribbean region exactly what is happening. And we haven't been getting, I'm not sure what is going on. We haven't been hearing much coming out of any place except for what is circulated via WhatsApp or however it gets out. What's going on, really?
What I'm making sure is I'm trying to make sure that I state what I know are facts.
Yes.
And although Antigua is so small, we're 108 square miles. We have about 100,000 citizens or people. The word gets around. So I want to be sure that I'm not mixing in or tying in hearsay with facts. And so I have confirmed most of what I am sharing, except for my personal matters, I know for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
But for instance, police officers, I have friends who are in the police force, and I know that police officers are being asked to stay at home if they are choosing not to take this jab, as I call it. As a result, there are other police officers that are working 12-hour shifts 7 days a week because they have to make up for the others who would have to then stay at home. As of recent, as of, I believe, up until last week, it was said, or we were notified, I guess, based on some who may have had personal experiences. I'm not sure if it's a general mandate as yet, but those mothers who have to collect child support for their children from the magistrate's court are being told that they're unable to do so if they are unvaccinated. So they cannot collect their child support. The children will have to suffer as a result of the parent, whatever their personal reasons are, their health concerns, they have chosen not to. And as a result, it's a case where their children may have to suffer. So that is the pressure that is on some of the mothers at the moment. Quite a few have contacted me personally to find out what can they do. And I am no lawyer. I am no lawyer. I am no politician. I have no political affiliation in particular. I am a part of and support a group called Freedom Fighters of Antigua and Barbuda, where we advocate for human rights, not necessarily anti-vaxxers or pro-vaxxers. We have a mixture of all, but we just want the freedom, the rights of our people. We want to have that right. And so there are people who are familiar with me from some of the movements, and they contact me based on things that I speak about. And there are some crazy stories. I wish they were mine to tell, but there are some crazy stories that have been coming in. And so it's getting really serious. Tertiary institutions, children have to be vaccinated before they can attend. This is ridiculous. Recently, someone had posted a story about her child. She didn't want her child to drop out of school. She posted it publicly on Facebook, so I'm going to just mention it without mentioning her name, that her child had collapsed and hit her head after her second dose. She was then taken to the hospital. She was paralyzed the next day. She updated us on Facebook. Her child was still paralyzed. And she said that one of the EMT workers had said that this is common, actually. As of recent, a lot of children have been suffering the same side effects. And no one knows about this. Without her posting that, no one would have known. I'm not sure if she was threatened or advised to do so, but she had removed the post a few days later. And it just shows me that, people don't even feel safe speaking the truth anymore. Their raw truth. They're being held accountable, or they're being penalized for speaking it. So it's really crazy. It's really crazy.
Wow. You are watching The Raw Truth, and of course, we have with us a couple folks from across the Caribbean region, and of course, their experiences seem. I'm a little blown away because I'm not even sure what to say, what to think, what to feel. What's really happening? Let me go to Devon. I'm sure Devon is there. Is Devon there? Let me bring in Devon on this one, because one today is done. Devon, how you do? Talk to me.
I'm doing fine, So my name
Whole
is
life.
Devon.
What a guan? Whole life. What a guan?
Things are very stressing. It's very stressing for a lot of people. It's hard to stay positive, because we realized that listening to this conversation just now, it's exactly what we've been saying in Jamaica. The Prime Minister of Jamaica has become a salesman. He's a salesman for these injections. So it leads us to wonder Are these people getting commission? Are these people getting paid to push these injections? While at the
Devon,
same time, go ahead. Yeah.
Devon, we have been, listen, we are everywhere across the world, and everybody is hearing the exact same thing. You think our because government is a dead entity. That's all it is.
Mhm.
The people who make a government are the officials who the people put there and call them government. It's like you set up a company to sell blocks, or a company to sell potatoes, or a company to sell clothes.
But here's the thing. Here's the
They,
thing.
they are the actors in these companies to make them function.
Uh-huh.
Do you think the actors in these companies have lost it? What is happening with these people?
Here's the thing, Kenny. What we have to understand in the Caribbean is that the system that was given to us by our slave masters. These aren't systems that we created as a people, which is why the UIC in Jamaica wants to create a system, a new system for the Jamaican people. Get rid of the Queen, the colonial constitution, and this parliamentary system of governance. We want a true republic. These people have been bought out for a very long time now. And now, as I said before, initially when I spoke, it seems as if these individuals are getting a commission for pushing these injections, because we've known from last year that there are multiple ways of dealing with COVID-19. We have early outpatient treatment protocols, right? You have ivermectin out there. You have so many things out there to treat COVID-19, yet these people are telling you that you have to stay home and get to the point of dying before they admit you to the hospital. What about early treatment? Why are they not telling the people what to do to keep themselves out of the hospitals? And then they turn around and blame the uninjected individuals. I don't want to say unvaccinated. I'm going to tell you why. They turn around and blame the uninjected people for crashes in hospital, for the poor performance of the hospital. No, it is poor government policies that are causing this to happen. And the reason why I say uninjected and I didn't say unvaccinated or unvaccinated, because I don't believe these things, these mRNA technologies, these viral vector adenovirus technologies are actually real and true vaccines. They are different from our childhood vaccines. It is not the same as the measles. It is not the same as the mumps vaccine. Those are sterilizing vaccines that prevent infection. They prevent transmission. These injections that they're running around forcing on their citizens, they do not prevent you from getting infected, yet they want to give us vaccine passports, these injection passports, telling us you can't do this and you can't do that. Without it, we are moving to a society that is embracing totalitarianism and communism. Our leaders are bought and paid for, and that is what we need to realize, not just as the community in Jamaica, but as a Caribbean community overall. Our leaders have been bought in Jamaica. Right now, the Prime Minister is acting like a dictator. You can't even protest. The police told us in February, I think March of this year, that permits are required if you want to march or protest. And at the same time, they are not going to be issuing any permits to anybody to march or protest. But here's the thing. The UIC says, you know what? We do not need permits to exercise or fundamental human rights and freedoms, to assemble, to movement. We do not need permits to do so. So we went ahead and we organized some activities called Walk for Liberties, and we did 4 of them up until the Prime Minister decided that he wanted to threaten the Jamaican people with injection mandates. So we said, you know what? We are going to march on Garden House on September 22nd. And the UIC did so. But you know what happened? The police arrested the president of the United Independence Congress. And for those of you who are listening right now, you don't know who the UIC is. The UIC is a registered political party in Jamaica. And the sitting prime minister arrested his competition, arrested the leader of another political party just because he went out, he brought his supporters. And it wasn't just the UIC. The Rastafarian community was there. The Muslim community was there. The Nation of Islam, Christian communities were there. A lot of groups came together and planned this march on Garden House. But here what now? The media start to call the march an anti-vax march. But it's not an anti-vax march. We're not anti-vax and we're not pro-vax. What we are is pro-choice. People should be free to choose and decide what goes into their body or not. Bodily autonomy is important, and as a people of African descent, it is important that we understand that.
My brother, listen. Listen, let me take a break. We come right back in a moment because this really could get very interesting. We take a short break. We come right back in a minute. Keep it locked.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
We have been hearing the stories from across the Caribbean region. We have been hearing the stories of all kinds of crazy things that are happening. And many people are wondering whether these things are true. Many people are afraid to speak, even. And many, though they're suffering, find it hard to share their pain. Where do we go as a people? What remedy do we find when the law seems to be now working against the very people whom it should protect? What remedy can we find when the police, who is supposed to be upholding the law which is or was designed to protect the people, are now working against the people? We have some folks with us from across the world, from across the Caribbean region. And they're here this evening to speak with us on exactly what their experiences are in their neck of the woods. I commend them for taking this step to share with us. I commend them for their position, and their thoughts must be respected. It is their right to express themselves. It's their right. And I do hope we can appreciate and embrace the rights of the people to express themselves. It's their right. Let me bring in Umar from Trinidad. We have Umar. He's been sitting on the back end there for a while. And of course, I'm going to bring in Umar. Greetings, brother. What's happening? What are going over there in Trinidad? Talk to us. Are you hearing me, Umar? Open your mic for me, my brother. Talk with us.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. What a guan in Trinidad? Talk to us. What a guan? What a guan?
Greetings to all your viewers, all your listeners. I'm very sad today in Trinidad and Tobago. I believe we are officially today, the 11th of October, have become
Yes.
a communist state.
Uh-oh.
Today, businesses, companies are being told who to serve and who not to serve, who has the right to be served and who does not have the right to be served. Just Saturday, persons could have gone in any restaurant and any food outlet in any one of these establishments and wash their hands, take their temperature, and go up to the counter and order their foods, order their meals, and so on, and take it away either to their vehicle, to their homes, and enjoy it with their families. Today, they can no longer do that. They've been told at the door, are you injected? If you're injected, you have to stay outside and we will serve you from outside. They've been treated like animals. And we would have those who can show the card would be allowed to enter and feel like royalty. Looking down at those who are standing by the door, by the gate, as though they are nobody, as though they are less than human beings. And what we see established here in this country is a system of medical apartheid. It's far worse than the apartheid that we saw in Africa, in South Africa. It's far worse than the apartheid that existed in America. The Rosa Parks got up and stood up for what was right and what was true. That is medical apartheid. It cuts across every single border in our nation. It cuts across political lines, racial lines, social lines, cultural lines. We're no longer considered human beings in Trinidad, but we are considered subjects. Our Prime Minister have hinted to this population that we are preparing for a new world order. We are asking, what does this new world order would look like? Would it be a democracy? Would it be a communist? Would it be tyrannical? Would it be a terrorist organization? Tell us, what would this be like? Would the citizens of your country be considered human beings? Or would we be considered subjects? In our schools today, our government has sought to disobey and violate their own laws. Because according to our constitution here in Trinidad and Tobago, every child needs to be immunized before they enter the schooling system. What is immunization? It's a process whereby a child gets inoculated or gets a drug in their system, whereby it prevents them from getting sick or spreading a sickness. This injection does not do that, because you can still get it, you can still spread it, you still have to wear the mask, and you still have to social distance. So the child who are being allowed in school today are not immunized. They broke their own laws. As a matter of fact, the child who has not been injected has a more right to be in the schools, because according to their figures, those children have a less than 0% chance of getting COVID-19. And if they do get it, they have a 99.9% chance of recovery. So who is more immunized? Those who are injected or those who are not? Our government have stated clearly in their regulations, the health regulations, that any child who has not gotten the injection is not entitled. That's the exact word that was used. It is not, they are not entitled to attend physical classes. Where did you hear that word before? Does it sound familiar? Does it remind you of apartheid Africa? Does it remind you of a time in America when places where the blacks could not use the toilet that the whites were using? Does it remind you of that? Does it remind you of the fateful day when Rosa Parks got up and said, no, this is what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Our democracy has been cancelled. Our republic has been erased. And this government is standing on a platform represented by the global elite. This government has cancelled our sovereignty by signing on to that international pandemic treaty with the WHO, whose roots is in its constitution, in the constitution of the WHO. Could you imagine what that means? It means to say that the constitution of the WHO can override the constitution of this country, Trinidad and Tobago. What is happening in the Caribbean region is very, very puzzling.
My brother, I don't know what to say to you, because I give you time to express yourself in a way that makes sense to you. I can only, what can I say to you? Because when the day is done, there has been, and it is very sad that to date, we know there's a lot happening across the Caribbean, but we have not been hearing anything at all about it, which is interesting. Our people seem to be lost and in the maze as to what in God's name is happening. I can't speak to that. But we have not been getting anything directly out of these places. And when the day is over, my brother, it leaves us quite sad that a lot of suffering is happening, but no one is even talking about it. It is very unfortunate.
We have numerous numbers of deaths in this country as a result of persons taking that injection. Numerous numbers of persons who would have had adverse effects. Right now, just 2 days ago, a mother called me from Tobago. Her son took the injection and he started to urinate blood, clad blood. Could you ever imagine a male urinating blood? A young boy who once was running around in the yard and playing football and cricket and all of that and happy. And today he's in the hospital on tubes because he took an injection that was forced on him. It is ridiculous what is happening in our country. Workers are being told that they cannot enter their own workplaces if they don't take this injection. They're being forced. We stood up for some casino workers just a couple of days ago. And those women, all of them women, some single parents, being asked to work long hours, nights, can't get transportation to go home when they're finished. 15 years service, 16 years service, 10 years service, working honestly and giving of the best. And this foreign national, a Turkish national, are telling these women, if you do not get the injection, we no longer require your services. They're owed salaries. Yes, they're owed their salaries. National insurance has not been paid for 2 years for some of these workers. And to add insult to injury, this Turkish national has told these women, I will give you $500 to take the injection, but you have to wait on 6 months to get it. Yes, 6 months, because you know they might very well end up in the hospital or in the graveyard. And this government is allowing this to happen. Our Minister of Health went on an international platform with Trevor Noah and told Trevor Noah a number of lies. He told Trevor Noah, no one is being forced in this country to take the injection. No one. And while he was saying that, there were workers locked out of a site in Sandy Grande and being told by a government agency, UDICOT, that they cannot enter the compound if they don't get injected. While he was telling Trevor Noah that was happening. 2 days ago, no, just 1 day ago, the workers of Calco called us and indicated that they were told Saturday, that's this Saturday gone, that they have to be injected, or Monday, come Monday, they will not be able to enter the compound. I went on a live feed, had an interview with 2 media houses, and indicated that we are going to Calco on Monday morning with the workers. Sunday, I got a phone call from the workers, and they told us that Calco told them to come to work as usual. They knew what was coming. They knew what was coming. We are not, the First Wave movement, are not going to continue to allow government to get away with this nonsense. We are here, the First Wave movement are here to cancel the nonsense, to erase the nonsense, and to bring back sensibility in our country, Trinidad and Tobago. And I hear the voices coming out of the other islands. And as a Caribbean region, as a region as ours, rich in culture, rich in the spirit of love and harmony and unity, we need to come together. These different forces in these different islands, we need to come together, and we need to act together to erase what is taking place in our countries. We need to bring our movements under one umbrella in the Caribbean region and fly one flag and speak one language. And that language should be the language of love, honor, unity, and respect for all, giving each and every person the right to choose and the right to movement throughout the region.
My brother, it is what it is, and you know, when it is done, my brother, I can only share your pain. I can only share your pain. Ah, my goodness, it's what it is. Let me bring in Kenson King. I think he has a lot to share as coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. Turn on your mic for me. Welcome, my brother.
My brother, good night.
Greetings and honor, my brother. How you doing?
I'm well. I actually hustled home to join you.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, my brother. What are going on in St. Vincent?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, in St. Vincent, well, let me say we may have been spared just a bit. Some of what our neighbors are going through because we have decided to remain resilient.
Right.
And stand up against the kind of tyranny that our Prime Minister and his cabinet is trying to bring here. Now, when I listened to Umar just a while ago and I listened to the brother before him, you know, it makes me cringe at some points because I remember some months ago, even before the vaccine, all of this came about with the vaccine, I said right here, and I said on my program, The Rant, I said, we are heading towards medical Jim Crow. And I like how Umar just stated that it's medical, it's more like apartheid, you know? And I'm wondering if people are really taking the time out to sit down and see what is happening, because here in St. Vincent, the teachers are really taking a stand. I saw that you had Nikisha to be on here. She's one of the persons of Rise Hairuna, one of the groups that that I walk along with when it comes to protesting here. And she's also a teacher. And the thing is, the teachers are really showing out, though there are those who decide to not stand with their unions as the civil servants and so forth. But here, there were amendments made to the Public Health Act that literally now gives the government the leeway to could kind of touch civil servants in a way that they could not. And now I see them trying to bring on stream this new entity to kind of replace the Service Commission's regulations that has been constitutionally put in place to govern the civil service. Because now they want to use these entities and amend laws and acts so that they can touch civil servants and coerce people into taking these vaccines. Now, I hope that people do realize that a lot of people are taking these vaccines, not because it's not out of public health concerns, but more out of being scared of losing their livelihoods. And it is so sad that all of our governments have allowed themselves to be bought and paid for by these major companies and countries, you know, to push an agenda. And this agenda has nothing to do with public health. Nobody can convince me of that. And every day that we go by, every week that passes, every month that passes, you know, that passes, you sit down and you realize, hey, more and more we're moving from public health to just control. Australia is a perfect example. And even Canada, sadly, and parts of America. And when we see these mandates on vaccines that are still experimental, as a matter of fact, I was reading one document today that came out from Pfizer, that they are going to be testing these vaccines in full on a town in Brazil, you know, to see exactly what they can do, how long their so-called immunity lasts, and all of these things. And people, yet these politicians sit down and expect us to be fools with things that are not even proven to work. And they will tell you, yeah, but they work, they save lives. How? When at the end of the day, as Umar said just a while ago, we know when you say you are inoculated against something, it simply means that when you say immunization, you are protected from. I asked a doctor some time ago, when last did you hear about a case of polio? You see, and all of us have been vaccinated against these things. Even right here in St. Vincent, you are being labeled as stupid or you don't have sense because you choose to not be vaccinated. When the literature is out there, and the thing is that these people forget that this is an age of technology, and they no longer have a monopoly on information. And that is the part that is getting to them, because, like, for example, Ralph Gonsalves, he is now saying that him and his cronies and his lackeys and puppets, they are saying that you know, the anti-vaxxers campaign is more, you know, powerful than their vaccination campaign. Now, you have these entities such as America and so forth, these powerful entities that are pushing these things, and you're telling me that people who decide they don't want to be vaccinated, and you're calling them anti-vaxxers, even though they have been inoculated against every other disease there is. So how all of a sudden they become anti-vaxxers? Because they decide to use wisdom and apply wisdom in a matter like this.
Let me bring in Nikisha. She's been there very patiently, and she's waiting and she's listening very patiently. And when the day is over, you know, Nikisha, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All is well. Me not all right, you know, because them stories me hearing
You
right
sound
now.
exhausted.
Me not sure me can handle them stories that me hearing right now.
Oh yes, you better believe it. It is going down. across the islands. And every time somebody opens their mouth to speak, it only seems to be getting worse and worse. And the scary thing is, we still haven't come to our senses as a people, as a region, to stand together, to band together like our foreparents before us and take our liberty back. Because ultimately, our liberty is under attack. And the governments of the world, not just of the region, they continue to try to erode that liberty. And until people say enough and no more, then they will continue to push and push and push until they get what they want. This whole notion of mandatory vaccination, and I hate to call it a vaccine because it is not a vaccine. This is an experiment. It's an experimental drug. And when this was first rolled out, they said it was going to be a choice, whatever, whatever. We see how quickly that story has changed. And the governments, they wonder why the people are so distrusting. You can't start saying one thing today and by next week you change your tune. That doesn't work. You are definitely lying. And we have to ask ourselves, why? What do they stand to gain by all of this? My colleague Kenson would have noted that I am a teacher in St. Vincent, and very proudly so. So that's why patience was nothing for me to exercise tonight, waiting for my turn. And our teachers we are under attack. We are under attack. And there seems to be a plot, and they're taking it in tiers. They went first for who they call the frontline workers, which would have included the police officers, customs, immigration, nurses, and doctors, and so forth. And then they went for the heads of statutory bodies. And now they have come for us teachers. Who is next? The teachers have decided to take a stand, where they have withdrawn their service. They did so last Tuesday, I think it was, today, and we will also withdraw our service on Friday. Now, the sad part in all of this is that there are a number of teachers who do not see the need to stand with their fellow brothers and sisters, and they go to work. I mean, we're online, but they sign in for work. You understand? And what they're not realizing, at some point, this tyrannical government is going to come for our children. Our children are next. I have been seeing a number of they have mobile vaccination camps going around to different areas, villages, or whatever, and they are telling people to bring their children from 5 onward to be vaccinated. How callous could a parent be to take their innocent child and hand them up as a sacrifice for an experiment? I mean, are you serious? This is the level of madness we have going on in our region right now. The parents are not, boy, it is truly sad. And I keep having to remind people of the Nuremberg Code. And for those persons who don't know what this code is, it is basically a set of ethical principles that stand against or prevent any company, any government, anyone from using human beings for experiments against their will. Now, when you're telling us that we have to take this choke or this jab or whatever you want to call it, and we don't want to, it is saying to us, you do not respect that code that precedes all of our politicians in the region. Because none of them
Let's hold it right there. Let's hold it right there because we're right on the hour. And I mean, goodness gracious, this is absolutely getting very interesting. I let me welcome all our viewers wherever you're watching us from, wherever you're viewing from. We thank you so much for joining us, and of course, we're going to take a short break. We come right back in a moment. Stay tuned.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Welcome back, and you're live with us right here on The Raw Truth. And of course, I'm Kenny G, your host, and we'll be here with you until about 10 o'clock this evening, as usual. Every Monday evening, right here on The Raw Truth, we bring you special guests from across the world as we share with you the very important happenings as they're happening not only within the Caribbean region, but other parts of the world. Let me welcome all our viewers, and please, if you are not a member of PSI Network, please go to PSI Network on Facebook and like the page, or you can go to our channel on YouTube and subscribe to the page as well. Very interesting perspective from our people across the Caribbean region as we examine some of the happenings as they come to the fore in your neck of the woods, perhaps, for those of us who are not from the Caribbean region. I guess the news is the same all over the world, wherever you go nowadays. Yes, everyone seems to be having the same experiences. I want to take it to Neil Joseph. He's been on the back end there. Neil, how you doing? Talk with us. Yeah, open your mic, my brother.
Well, good night.
Greetings and honor. How is it going in your neck of the woods? Is all well, I hope? Yes?
Well, as my dear sister Marcia said, it's been quite an interesting set of events going on in Antigua over the last several weeks. And yes. I don't know if I'm living in Antigua or Hitler's Germany. I'm not too sure. But there seems to be a playbook going on with the Caribbean, because I keep hearing this word tyrannical, and that is the term for the government of Antigua and Barbuda. And I'm not even going to hold back on anything. As of this weekend, the unjabbed people can't go into restaurants. You're not allowed to go into the certain government institutions. You can't go to the port to clear your goods. And I'm a business owner, so I can't go to the port to clear goods. And And listen to this one. Listen to this one. If you are unjabbed, you cannot enter the country, even if you were born here. Maybe somebody can fact check me on this one. So if I'm born in Antigua, my grandmother born here, my mother born here, my father, everybody born here, and I am overseas and I want to enter my country of birth, I have to show them if I don't know what's going on, but this is untenable. I will say it nicely. This is untenable. This cannot go on. This is getting worse, so much worse that within the last few days, the government of this country, the cabinet, has decided that if you're a senator or parliamentarian and you're not jabbed, you cannot come into the house. The people elected you, and you can't come into the house and to do the people's business. It's getting it's really, really crazy in this country. All right. I had an interaction with one of the with the government spokesperson, the cabinet spokesperson. And this was a few days ago on his Facebook page. And I asked him, what science is the Antigua and Barbuda government following? Because the science shows that the jabbed and the unjabbed, as everyone is calling them here, spread the virus the same. So what is the agenda here? What science are you following? The vaccines, as they call them, wane over time. Where is the science? And now they have mandated it for children. All right. There are a lot of people who've had adverse side effects from this. And I will end with this particular interesting one. And this is actually on the government, one of the government websites. This was an exemption form that you can access on this website. And the form, part of the form, you can apply for medical exemption. Watch this. This is no joke. This is serious. This is not some sort of online parody. And they have a list of conditions. If you have these conditions, you cannot get a medical exemption. First condition, if you took the first jab and you had a severe adverse reaction, that doesn't exempt you from getting the second one, even if you nearly died. If you have an autoimmune disease that might have been caused by another vaccine and you possibly nearly died from that, you're still not exempt from their jab. If you're taking medication, you're still not exempt. If you're taking medication for an compromised immune system, you're still not exempt. We've spoken to persons. I spoke to a lady. One particular lady, she was recovering from cancer and on medication, and her doctor told her she can take the jab. Friends with autoimmune diseases, major thyroid issues, major blood clot and circulation issues, and no matter what condition you have, the only thing that's supposed to exempt you from this thing is if you're dead. And as I told some people, I don't even know if dead people are exempt. There is a deep level of evil going on in this country, across the Caribbean, and the people need to stand up, stop, and everyone needs to stand up. But some people feel like, well, I've gotten my 2 doses, so I'm okay, and this foolishness has to stop. But this is what is going on in Antigua right now. And it needs to go. It needs to stop.
My brother, let me tell you something. I need to ask you all this one question because I think it becomes necessary for us to understand this. Do you think that our governments are are really pushing this thing overboard?
Most certainly.
Do you think it is being pushed
Absolutely.
overboard with no
Absolutely.
consideration for people or law or institutions thereof? Is this the case?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kenneth, are we still thinking? We still thinking?
We're seeing it. We're seeing it. We are
Most
seeing it.
definitely.
This stuff can't
And the
even be
worst part,
legal.
but the worst part is the government don't want to accept any sort of liability if anything goes wrong. Because the teachers in St. Vincent, we would have asked them for three things, only three things. One, if persons decide to take the vaccine and there's any sort of adverse reaction, that the government would take responsibility. They said no. We asked also, if we don't want to take the vaccine, we will take a test every 2 weeks. We just don't want to have to pay for it out of our pockets. They said no. We additionally said, if we have to be tested, everyone should be tested. Those who are vaccinated and those who are unvaccinated, because we know that COVID is no chooser of persons.
But
Everybody can get it.
But let me say this, because listen, the information is everywhere. Agree?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, that's correct.
Children have it on them cell phone, them have it in them school book, them everybody have it everywhere. So what is
Everywhere.
this? Why we behaving like we're stupid?
Because there's an
Can I stop?
agenda. There's an agenda. That ultimately they have an agenda. And because of this agenda, nobody can escape it. That's it, Ken.
You know,
That
I'm
is
just
it.
listen. It's like a cat. It's like a cat in the middle of the road. A truck is coming. The cat is in the middle of the road. The cat see the truck coming, and is hiding in the middle of the road from the truck. This is how governments are behaving. Is it that they think that the people are not seeing them and don't know what they're doing? Or they're just plain stupid? What is the problem? Because listen, again I say the information is everywhere. Nobody don't have to get magnifying glass to search for nothing. It's everywhere. So why are we behaving as if, and you know the bad thing that's going to happen? And I could say it here. I've been watching it very, very carefully. I look in Jamaica. I look in Trinidad. I look in Barbados. I look in the BVI. I look in St. Vincent. It's a very thin thread, a very thin thread. I wish I could find a thread. A thin thread that is preventing a war to break out. A thin thread. Because most of them man make up their mind anyhow them push it power a little harder. A war, them make up their mind. Are our governments behaving like pussycats in the middle of the road, and the truck is coming and they're hiding, ducking in the middle of the road like a pussycat, pretending to be hiding from who? When everybody know what the hell is happening. Let me go to my friend in Antigua, because she might can help me to get this together. What are you seeing on the ground with your people? What is the mood? What is it? Talk with us about that a little bit. What are you seeing in Antigua?
There is a lot of anxiety. I think that those who never experienced or suffered with anxiety in the past are doing so now. There are a lot of people that are in a state of panic. As someone mentioned before, I think it was our brother from St. Vincent, that a lot of them are pressured and then giving in, not because they think it will help them, not because not because of any personal view. It's not about the health of the people. It's all about fear.
Do you think they understand what this thing is doing to them?
I mean, a lot of them are afraid. Some have spoken out about what happened to their family. A coworker of mine actually personally shared that he has heart complications, and his cousin, who is very healthy, no underlying health issue, collapsed and died 2 days after his second dose. And he was a healthy, strong man in his early 40s. He just collapsed and died like that. And if he is in a worse state with his health, and he's concerned about that, he's not willing to take it. However, his job is being threatened just as mine is, because the mandate is now moving to the private sector. And the thing is, the government has no concern. They don't want to hear. They haven't listened to the complaints of the people who have personal stories about how this has affected them severely, whether in suffering or in death. And as a matter of fact, they have called some of us who have peacefully picketed to speak up and say, you know, that we have real stories, and some of us are partially vaccinated and suffered adverse effects, and we just want to be heard and we want our rights. The government has called us demonic. The Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda has referred to us as demonic people who need to stop putting the country at risk. So he has no concern. He's just forcing this discrimination, and so all those who have taken this or has taken this side or perspective has now started to attack and discriminate and scorn those who have good reason for not taking it.
Tell me something, my sister. From what you are seeing, is it that the people are very aware that the opinion of their leaders is without credibility? Is that what you're seeing?
I don't think that a lot of them are aware. There are many who are. I can definitely say majority are. They're in a state of distrust towards our government, simply because whether they were for this or not, and some are already vaccinated. There are some who are qualified healthcare workers who refuse to take it. Obviously, they're refusing for a reason. What they're witnessing firsthand, if it is what the government is saying is taking place, why would they refuse if they're seeing the benefits of it? So there's a large number of distrust towards the government at the moment. However, I just believe that they're feeling the pressure. So not everyone who is taking it, I would say majority, because majority of our population is still unvaccinated in Antigua.
Let me go into Trinidad with Omar. What are you seeing on the ground over there, my brother? Talk with us. Is it that the people are just as mistrusting? Is it that they're aware that their officials are just using gimmickry and it's all theater to get them to take this thing, and for what purpose? Are they understand? Tell me tell me what you're seeing on the ground. What are you seeing?
Let me begin by setting the record straight. There is majority of persons in Trinidad and Tobago did not get that injection, and they don't want it. The majority. All right. The government is attempting to lie and to deceive the public into believing that a lot of persons are going and taking these injections. That is an absolute lie. It is not true. So they've conned the business community into believing that they can open up back the entertainment industry, restaurants, movie, cinemas, the drinking shops, and so on. What we call in Trinidad the rum shops and so on, and they're telling them that you'll be able to serve only those who have gotten the injection. So basically, truth be told, it's just above 30% of the persons have gotten the injections in this country, and that 30% represents school children who have no buying power, the old age pensioners who have no buying power, and also they're the conservatives who go to the supermarkets, buy their groceries, and come home and cook their own food. So they don't go out and they don't buy outside and patronize those places and so on. and then there's the food that remain. A lot of them they just can't afford, so you're not going to see them spending. And then there's just 8% remaining, and this 8% is expected to, maintain and to keep these institutions afloat, pay their rents, pay their workers, and so on. And workers now being forced to take this injection because of their jobs. They have a family to mind. They don't know where they're going to be able to earn a living or how to earn a living. They take the injection thinking that they're going to be secured. Lo and behold, those businesses are being set up to fail. Right?
Let me go to Jamaica. Talk to me, Devon. What is your position in Jamaica? Tell me a little about what what is the mindset on the ground as you see. Talk with us.
All right. So a majority of Jamaicans haven't taken the injection as yet. Around 90% haven't taken it yet. But here's the thing: there's a shortage really of injections. But at the same time, they had to throw out, I think around 50,000 injections or something like that because they expired, because no one was taking them. So majority of Jamaicans clearly have no interest in taking this injection. But the argument is going to be that they're being fed misinformation, or they're being fed false information. But that's not true, because there is a large media blackout on information, and you're going to find that majority of people that you speak to don't even know the things that we're speaking about right now. The fact that these mRNA and viral vector technologies aren't truly vaccines, right? They don't know about the people who are dying from these injections. They don't know that long-term effects haven't been worked out. They don't know about the agenda in the background. The only thing they know is that they're not comfortable with this and they don't want to take it, right? A lot of people, and not just in Jamaica, worldwide, just you saw something come out in 2020 to fight this SARS-CoV-2 virus, which has a 99 point something % recovery rate. People are going to ask, okay, so why am I going to take it? Then you have people who contracted the virus before. They're going to ask, okay, so why do I need to take this injection? So people aren't stupid. And the government likes to behave as if people are stupid. Of course, the government is the one that created the public education system to miseducate the people of Jamaica. And not just the people of Jamaica. The public education system is something that's widespread. And they use it to miseducate.
No, but my brother, I you see, and this is where I have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the people put these people there to manage the company called Jamaica,
mm-hmm.
and rather than looking out for the best interest of the people who put them there to manage that company, they now become the enemies of the people. Not just Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a universal matter where the people put in these companies to manage them,
but Kenny,
are now the enemies of the people. What the hell is going on here?
Kenny, this is a common misunderstanding. Political parties, at least those political, not my political parties, I'm going to explain why. Political parties are not funded by the people of Jamaica. They're not funded by citizens. Political parties are funded by these big international organizations. They're funded by these private businesses. Political parties are there to represent the interests of those who fund them. So my political party, for example, we're funded by Jamaicans, like a little $10 there, a little $100, a little $1,000 there. So we represent Jamaicans. The JLP, the PNP, the Democrats, the Republicans, the Liberals, the this, the that, all of those major political parties do not represent their citizens. And yet we keep voting for them to come into power over and over again. When you vote them into power, they're coming into power to represent their corporate and big business interests. And who is that big business interest, you ask? Mr. Big Pharma. Who do you think Pfizer is? Who do you think J&J is? Who do you think AstraZeneca is? These are companies that have committed fraud, have been charged for fraud. And all of a sudden, somehow, before 2020, nobody trusted government. Nobody trusted Big Pharma. But 2020 came and all of a sudden, come stick me up, jab me up. What is going on? Where did this newfound trust in Big Pharma come from?
let me go.
Where did it come from? What happened?
Let me go to my sister, and I want to get her in here because St. Vincent has been probably one of the most interesting of many of the places I've been watching for a while. And I watch Ralph. It looked like Ralph when him flip a switch, the ripple them set up across the Caribbean. And when him kick a ball, it bounce off of the goalpost and all over the goalpost.
Oh, when he talk about body bags, people just start dying left, right, and center.
I've been watching
that
Ralph.
one too.
I've been watching Ralph, and when the day is done, it's very interesting that he seems quite influential across the Caribbean region. What are you seeing on the ground in relation to your populace? Is there common knowledge on the ground as to what exactly in hell is happening? Talk with us.
Well, in St. Vincent, we have less than 20% of the population taking the vaccine. And you're having a lot of conversation. People have been voicing their opinions on social media. And for some reason, there is a social blackout. Like
interruption.
Information is...
Hold on. Interruption. How are we hearing that you have 80% and 70% and
the
all
lies that they tell is not even funny.
Of the population infected. You hear it all the time.
No. The Vincentian public, and that is why he's coming after them group by group by group, because the people are not, they're not listening to him. They're not. The days of old where Ralph Gonsalves and everything that left his mouth was the gospel truth. People have been seeing him for who he is. And he's just a politician. You know what I mean? He will say what he has to say to get people to do what he wants them to do. But ultimately, the Vincentian public, they are not in love with the lies anymore. They are saying what they have to say, and slowly but surely, I am hoping from my lips to God's ears that they can stand tall at some point, because it's getting scary. The people are about to blow. And we don't want that. We don't want that.
I didn't want to say it, but trust me, I see it coming exactly
the
as
people, yes. And in St. Vincent, our issue is a little bit more complex than the other islands, because there has been a series of events that have led us to this very point. We're talking about a number of cases in our judicial system. We're talking about persons just losing their jobs for absolutely no reason. We're talking about an attack on the Vincentian public by the government. And the people are fed up. They are. It's molten rock and just a thin layer of ice, not even solid ground, covers us right now. And the sad thing is, when the Vincentians start, history has proven that they don't just stop. They don't just...
Hold on. Let me bring in Marcia. What are you seeing in Antigua? I need to get to the crunch of this tonight. What are you seeing in Antigua? Them boy I crank up them old iron or them I make bow and arrow. What am I do? Tell me. What going over there?
Well, some are really serious, but I will tell you this. When our peaceful picketing started and the Prime Minister sent order to tear gas the people, that drove a lot of fear into those who were willing to stand. And so although they would applaud from behind the scenes or send messages of encouragement or say, I'm glad you guys are fighting for us, the numbers started to decrease in those who were taking a stand for their rights. And after that, soon after followed the threat that you will have no job and I will replace, even to the teachers who took a stand. Their union is fairly strong. I'm very proud, even listening to Nikisha, is it? I thought, wow, that is amazing. The teachers here have gone and fought hard, but the government said, how much of you? About 400 or 500. I will replace all of you. And that's what our Prime Minister said.
We have been getting the very same threats here. And there is even word he's also said where he's going to get them from. But he must be a crazy man to think that Vincentians are going to sit down and watch a whole workforce from another country storm in here and take the few jobs that we already have. He has to be crazy not to think that he would be running for cover like a cockroach. He must be crazy.
Over one weekend, we had an increase of the vaccinated. Those who were vaccinated, it was about 10,000 people was announced that got vaccinated after the job threat came in. So I'm very disappointed. However, I understand the fear based on what people were suffering. If coincidentally, I wrote under a politician's post where they announced the number of the vaccinated people so proudly, and I said, isn't it funny how our COVID infection rate increased drastically within such a short time? And people around me who have been suffering have been fully vaccinated. They're the ones suffering, contrary to what they're actually putting out there in public and giving that impression that it's actually those who are unvaccinated that are suffering.
Let me go back. Let me go to Devon because listen, sir. Tell us what is happening because I know Jamaica. I know Jamaica. Okay. And Jamaica, like St. Vincent, is no place to play games. What a guan in Jamaica? What a guan over there? What a galang? Hello, hold on. Me notice that since I'm going to talk my patois now, just in case you never know, so I can talk my patois. Me notice that since the COVID-19 start, the crime rate drop. What a guan? Talk to me now. Tell me.
No, the crime rate didn't drop at all. In the drop, man, the crime rate skyrocketed. Over 1,000 people have died since the beginning of the year. I think we're approaching 100 people now. So the crime rate didn't drop; it skyrocketed. So the thing that people have to understand, a lot of people in Jamaica live hand to mouth, and Jamaica is a country of entrepreneurs. A lot of people aren't employed in the 9-to-5. Majority employed in the 9-to-5 are working for the government. The government is the biggest employer. Right, so majority of people are small entrepreneurs. You know, the little man or the woman on the side of the road, working in the market. So when the government comes and say, "Hey, we're locking down for 3 days," or we're cutting the business hour, these people suffer. Their children suffer. And
somebody in the chat said the crime rate worse now, my king.
Yeah, worse now because what people understand is that a lot of our children now, 13, 14, 15-year-old, are the ones with the guns. They're the ones running around right now, killing people. They're not in school because the government locked them out of school and again,
if parents not working, then hell, yes, the people then go and get hungry, then go and go thief, forget to make food.
Yes. But I was kind of avoiding the conversation that you guys want me to talk about, but I'm going to say it because I'm on the raw truth.
Talk to him, man. And I will come talk to him. What's going on?
People are angry. People are mad. And I think right now, since the president's arrest, I think people calm down a bit because they realize that there's a group out there that's defending them. So I think at the moment, the UIC is the only thing kind of holding things back and holding things in check. Because we don't want any violence in our, we don't want any more violence in our country. We don't want any more bloodshed. But if the prime minister, if the salesman of Jamaica, I'm not going to call him no prime, if the salesman of Jamaica continues what he's doing, the UIC will lose control of the situation and we will see where the Jamaican people will react. And
me don't even want to think about it because knowing what I know, you talk about Jamaica and St. Vincent and Trinidad, it really could get pretty tricky. Let me bring in Neil. Tell us what you're seeing on the ground, my beloved brother. You've been on the back end a little quiet for a while, and I know you're listening and soaking up all of this. What is happening in your neck of the woods where you are? Tell us, what are you seeing? Give us the raw truth in your neck of the woods. What are going on? Tell me.
Boy, this program here, I can get me in a trouble. The raw truth. Let me speak slowly and deliberately and carefully. Imagine you are working at a company for 35 years. You helped build the company. You've made great sacrifices. you have two children to feed, two small kids, and maybe a grandmother. And the government is going to come and tell you, or your own company, that if you don't take an unproven, not fully tested, still in trial, dangerous, that might have killed family members of yours like it killed mine, that if you don't take this thing, we are going to put you out of house and home, and you will not be able to feed your children. Many people in Antigua are in that position. Hundreds of people are in that position. What do you think is going to happen? Okay?
I don't want to think it. I tell you.
Okay. All right. And so somebody mentioned war tonight. I don't know if there's going to be war because Antiguans are maybe a little bit more timid than other people in the Caribbean. But I will say this. Something needs to happen because the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda has set himself up to be Hitler of this country. When you have a government representative, the chief of staff, I believe he is, come on national TV and he says the unvaccinated do not deserve to breathe the same air as the vaccinated.
Hold on, wait,
Yes.
hold on,
All right.
wait a little bit. You did not say that a while ago.
Okay, let me speak again because let me clear my throat. Let me speak slowly. The Chief of Staff of the government of Antigua and Barbuda, located in the heart of the West Indies, where they say there's 365 beaches, that Antigua and Barbuda, said on national television, ABS, the Antigua and Barbuda broadcasting station, that the unvaccinated do not deserve to breathe the same air as the vaccinated. All right? I've made up my mind that I'm not going down like this.
Pause, my brother. Pause right there. Now, maybe Gaston, because he has removed the honorable from his name to speak to his people like a jackass. I'm so sorry to say it, categorically so. You don't come to your people and disregard them like that. You make yourself a jackass. You don't come to your people and degrade them like that with no regard for their lives. You make yourself a jackass. And if tyranny is still held accountable in the courthouses that I know them.
Well, as I said, I had a back and forth with a parliamentarian who would sit with the chief of staff in these cabinet release of the cabinet press briefings, and he subtly threatened me by saying, and I just laid out some points about the fact that the persons who've taken the jab and those who haven't are spreading it just the same way. So what's really going on here? And I gave him facts and statistics. I used to be an accountant, CPA, so I love numbers. I deal with numbers, facts, information. And he couldn't even respond. He said, the debate is over, right? I don't care what you think about my government. And something, and wait until January 2022, and something, and yeah. I don't know the exact word, but it was like a subtle threat, like by 2022, we'll deal with people like you.
Can I ask you something, sir? Your chief of staff sound like a gangster to me. I don't want to put you on the line, but that kind of
Antigua is boiling. Antigua is boiling.
It has to boil. Hold on, sir. If you back up a dog in a corner, a little dog, back it up in a corner with a pole, and you keep poking that dog in the corner with that pole, you know what is going to happen? The dog is going to get the energy and jump in your throat and kill your backside. One time. And
there's something that we haven't mentioned here. I don't know if it's mind control. I don't know what's really, but it seems as if the medical fraternity, for the most part, have jumped on board with the lies. I heard a doctor last week say that ivermectin was like snake oil. The same ivermectin that the largest province in India used to free themselves of COVID. The same ivermectin that Johns Hopkins University studied in African, Middle African countries practically have no COVID because they were taking it even as an anti-parasitic. The same ivermectin that is used in several countries to treat COVID, even officially by the government. And he said it's like snake oil. And I think Marcia mentioned it. Do you know that all the government employees, the police, the army, teachers, they are mandated, even now the private sector. So come the middle of this month, you can't work in a bank or insurance company unless you've been jabbed. But let me just mention one thing. But you know who don't have to be jabbed? The nurses. They are no mandate for the nurses because they're not taking it.
Yeah.
What? Can I ask you all this one question? And time is really flying out so fast. We really have to close in a short while. But let me go to Neil, and I'm looking at it from where you sit, sir, and the madness that is happening at the level of your chief of staff. Do you think that into the end of this year, sanity will remain in St. Vincent if they continue to poke that puppy with that stick, as I see it happening? You think if they keep poking the puppy with the stick, sanity will prevail in St. Vincent into the end of this year? What are you seeing?
I am not so sure about that one. Maybe Kenzie has a more direct answer for you. But the way that things are going right now, we're gonna be hitting rock bottom very soon, unfortunately.
Somebody in the background around is singing. Tell them to hush up for 5 minutes. Let's finish. Talk to us, Mr. Kenson. Talk to us.
What? Shut up.
Talk with us. What are you saying?
Kenneth, you know I come on here and there are certain things that I just, you know my style by now.
I know you. But welcome to the Raw Truth. We need to know. We need to hear, man. What the hell is going on?
I'm going to say this. I dare Ralph Gonsalves to try what Gaston Brown is trying in Antigua. Try it in St. Vincent. I can say things. Dare Ralph Gonsalves to try.
Oh my God.
You hear me? I sat here on my phone and I saw in Antigua people decided they were going to protest peacefully and they called police to tear gas the people. Innocent people. Listen, they were going to try that thing at the last protest that we had. And I went to the hierarchy of the police and I told them, I said, listen to me. The moment one of these canisters leave one of those guns, all peace in St. Vincent is going to be removed. Yeah? The day Ralph Gonsalves, Colin John, Julian Francis, all of them try any of that crap in St. Vincent, you all will receive a reenactment of the 1935 riots right here. You guys will swear you're looking at a movie produced in Hollywood. I promise you that. And I promise them here that already.
And I endorse that one.
My brother, you see, just like how you're saying you're not going to go down like that. listen, you're late. Yeah, but welcome to the club. I hug you up and bring you into the club, brother.
Can I
Yeah?
say something?
Look, my brother my brother in Trinidad. What are you seeing over there? Talk with us.
Our government in this country, the only country in the Caribbean region where there is a state of emergency, and that speaks volumes. Here, my other brothers and sisters from the other islands, I could well understand and appreciate the pain that they're going through there in those islands, and they can still come out in the streets and they can still protest and they can still raise their voices and so on. The government will react in many ways that they're chosen to react and so on and so forth. We can't do that in Trinidad because we are under a state of emergency. So we are simmering right now. We are not at a boiling point. We are simmering because the government has placed a cover on that pot. And we are simmering inside that pot. But that cover is going to be removed. And when that cover is removed, it would be like when you remove a cover from a pressure cooker pot. What you find happening, without having that pot cool before you remove that cover, just take a cover off a pressure cooker pot. Just take it off immediately and see what happens. And that is exactly what is going to happen in Trinidad and Tobago. May Almighty God forbid another 1970. May the Almighty God forbid another 1990.
God forbid. I don't want to see that again.
It's crazy.
I don't know what to say at all. I've been watching it so closely, and beloved, my beloved friends here, I thank you so much for coming in to share with us. I think it is absolutely noteworthy that, and I hope some prime ministers are watching this program tonight, or members of government, wherever in hell you are from. Take note. For those of you who think the people are docile and or stupid even. I hear a lot of money is running and a lot of them making millions of dollars from this crap. Be careful, some of you may not be able to spend that money. Be very careful.
Correct.
Because our people are watching you very closely. And the more you poke, like you poke that stick on that pop in the corner, and the angrier they get, you could be setting up yourself for absolutely very serious trouble. And when it hit you, you wouldn't even realize what hit you until it does. I've done a certain degree of psychology. And you don't need a magnifying glass to tell you what the hell is happening in the minds of people in all of this pressure that they're facing right now. I am telling you, if you're watching this thing and you're a member of government tonight, take heed. Don't be a fool. Because Bob Marley said you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of them all the time.
Can I say something, Kenneth?
Please, sir. This is your program.
Some weeks ago, I remember I told the government here and the police and so forth, and I told them, I said, listen, don't ever forget the French Revolution and what happened to the monarchy. Don't ever forget. Because there are those of us out here who will go to the extent to protect life, liberty, limb, and family. Yeah? And you see this kind of nonsense. Listen, I think it was the brother here from Antigua that spoke a while ago and talk about the Caribbean unity and so on. Listen, if there's a time for us to go across and go and bypass the politics that has us cannot have this one Caribbean linkage that we have been trying to get for decades, that the politicians seem to be playing the sorry for the word, Kenneth, but the dick game, where everybody wants to see whose is bigger, you know? And that simply is what is keeping us from Caribbean integration. And it's the people, I said it before right here, the people have already integrated themselves. It's the politics that has us divided. And I think this is one of the greatest opportunities we have as citizens of the Caribbean, not of St. Vincent, of Barbados, of St. Lucia, of Jamaica, of Trinidad, and whatever, but of the Caribbean, for us to come together as a people and tell our so-called leaders, because we put them there. And I still, for the life of me, cannot understand why we are afraid of them and allowing one set of people to make some kind of dictates that have us in place, afraid to eat. So you telling me that you sit down comfortably in your house every day, every night, every morning, get up, eat comfortably, know you're going to get your salary, your allowances that can pay so many people who do not have a job. And you're going to tell me, Kenson here, that I'm going to sit down with blood running through my veins, air pumping in my lungs, and you living comfortable and me can't live? When? How? Where? That would be mad. Watch me. I will have you wondering if the food you have on your plate should be eaten.
You quoted a phrase from Bob Marley's song. Bob Marley also said, "Let's run those ugly bullheads out of town."
Out of town. Definitely, brother.
We are coming to the end of the program, and it is happening fast. I don't know how time flies so fast when we're here. But it means a hell of a lot to have you amazing people, to be as brave as you have been, to come to this platform, to express yourselves on no uneven terms. You are brave. Why? Because everybody hiding the head under the table, under the bulrush, hiding. Nobody ain't talking. Everybody's afraid. They're afraid that if they talk, the prime minister will not give them food. They're afraid if they talk, they might lose their work. If they're afraid if they talk, all kind of things going to happen to them. And everybody's hiding like hell, running and hiding because they want to keep. And the bad thing is, the more they hide, the more they come in on them, and the more they juke them and poison them and kill them, and everybody's still dying and they're still hiding. It making sense?
Can I, before we go, just remind people of a poem, Force the Cane. That's all I'll say.
My question is this: do we understand that we are all a part of the Americas? Do we understand that? It is not St. Vincent and Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica and wherever else in hell to tell you that you're from. We are one people from one land, one and the same land. North to South America, we are in Central America. One land, the Americas. One land. And we all need to get our behinds together, sit down on the same table and think like one. Unless we can do that, we're in serious trouble. I will say this, and I will give you the permission to wrap up. Each of you take 2 or 3 minutes to close. We need to think outside of what we have been taught, which has been brainwashing us all our lives to the point where we can't even think straight. It has been brainwashing. We are now at a point where the brainwashing is at its ultimate. We can't think straight. Somehow we have to begin the undoing of this process so we can free ourselves. It might take another year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. If all our lives we have been brainwashed, then I don't know when we're going to get over it. But we have to realize one thing. The time has come for us to understand who we are, where we are, and what we are about as a people. And if law remains law, and if the treaties which were signed with the nations, of which we are all part, stands today, if the treaties, I repeat, that were signed by your government stands today, you need to go back to those and remind them of those treaties which they signed on your behalf to protect you. You have a responsibility, my people, to remind the people who you put in the office to manage that company the treaties they signed to protect you. Listen, until they get to, if you're reminding them and they're not paying attention and they decide to play stupid, then I will take no responsibility for what you do. It is your business. But if they listen and understand that you reserve the right to uphold the law as is bound in the treaty they signed to protect you, the people, then if they do so, they would have done well. That's all I'll say on the matter. Now, I'm going to give you each a minute or two to wrap up, and we bring this to a close for today. We might have to do a part 2 because a couple of people, we have not even been able to touch them at all tonight. Very unfortunate. But let me start with the beautiful lady up top, my good friend Marcia. Talk with us. Leave a wise word on the mind of our people as you go. Talk with us.
I just want to urge the people to assess the facts that are before you. You don't want to go beyond that? Fine. Take the facts that are before you. The truth cannot be hidden. It is right there. You will see that the equation or formula that you are given is not in line, or is not adding up to the result that you are seeing. Assess the facts that are before you. There's such a thing called mind games. The way information is presented can force you to interpret it in a way in which is completely unfactual. So assess the facts carefully, reassess the facts rather, and I guarantee you, you will see a different perspective. The truth is there.
All right, thank you so much, my beloved sister.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. All the best to you. All right, let me go to Brother Neil. Talk with us. Leave something on our minds.
You know, it's unfortunate that there are people out there who know the truth and are still making decisions contrary to the truth that they know. But let me leave with a quote. If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his action. When you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself about what he will do. If you can make a man feel that he is inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. If you make a man think that he is justly an outcast, you do not have to order him to the back door. He will go without being told. And if there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. People need to stop letting the media, lies, Dr. Fauci, CNN, MSNBC, the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, their own politicians, and sadly their own doctors lying to them. Stop letting these people control your mind. Do your own research. Fight for freedom, because once that freedom is gone and the mass brainwashing happens, you could never ever come out of that type of slavery, because you will fight for your own enslavement.
Thank you, my brother. Let me go to Sister Nikki. Talk with us, my beloved.
What can I say? Kenson would have made mention of a poem that I normally quote, and it was written by a German pastor by the name of Martin Niemöller, and it goes something like this. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. My Caribbean people, stand up for your brothers. It might not be you today, it might not be you tomorrow, but it might be your children next week, next month, next year. We are going to need each other. Do not let someone stand alone simply because of political views or racial views or whatever. We must remain our brother's keeper, more so now than ever. Stand with your people in your island, standing with the people in your region, because at the end of the day, we are all that we have. Thank you so much, Kenny, for having me tonight.
It's an absolute pleasure, my beloved sister. Absolutely, anytime. All right, Brother Omar, talk with us. Or Umar,
Yeah.
what says thou as you leave? Talk with us.
This entire string of islands that link the Great North, the Great South, sometimes referred to as the Lesser and Greater Antilles, forms an artery that feeds blood to the entire region and feeds life in the region. These governments are attempting to clog that artery. And we as a people united would not allow it. Never would we ever allow it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, peace, my brother. Peace. The great brother Neil, Kenson, I call you Neil all the time. That's not good. As we go, my brother, leave something with us.
So, Kenneth, before I go, and thanks again for having me. My final thing to say here to my brothers and sisters in the Caribbean and here in St. Vincent, there's nothing to fear. And those that we have put there, we place them there. And they have a mandate from us to do what is right by us. And if they are not doing that, and the majority, the thing is in these countries, we are seeing that the majority are in opposition to what these politicians, prime ministers, and so forth are doing. So we are way more than them. They may control the security forces and so forth, but we outnumber them. And so therefore, we can be determined in our task to make sure that what we need to see happen. Have no fear. That's all I have to say. Have no fear. Just do what must be done to make sure that your sovereignty, your liberty, and your freedoms are kept in place. They call for a war. We are not going to back down and say no. We're going to fight. That's all I have to say.
My beloved brother, take care of yourself. And whatever you do, you keep strong. For yourself, your offspring,
Always.
and your people.
Thank you, brother.
All the very best to you. To all our guests who have been here tonight, to all our amazing guests who came on to share with us. We thank you so much for your bravery. We thank you so much for your heart. We thank you so much because you love your people. And it's because you love your people why you appeared here this evening to share with us in a way that is absolutely beyond anything that anyone would expect at this present moment. To all those of you who are watching, I do hope that you took very sharp notice, very keen notice of what was said by these people tonight. And wherever you are from, as you listen, as you watch this program, please take care of yourselves. Research, do your own research. Do not be influenced by those who have no purpose. But think carefully of what you do before you do it. Let me say this clearly. Me not here to tell you if you need to take injection or not. Not my business. You have a brain. But what I will say to you, information is everywhere. You now reserve the right to do your own research. Get the facts. And when you have gotten the facts, then you make up your mind and decide whether or not you truly want to make the decision you intend to make. If you are not a member of PSI Network, go to Facebook, like the page. And if you are not, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube and like our YouTube channel. Yes, because every Monday evening right here on PSI Network, PSI Live broadcasts, we bring you the latest as it happens across the Caribbean region and the rest of the world. Remember, he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. But if you lift up yourself too high and think more of yourself than you ought to think, you will drop and mash up like a ripe breadfruit. Remember, I said it to you. Walk good and take care of yourselves until we catch you next Monday evening at 8, right here on The Raw Truth on PSI Network. Peace.
You have been watching the latest development, and you seem to be very unsure of what to do next. You know something is about to happen, but again, you simply keep watching without a clue as to what to do next. Wake up, my brothers and sisters. You must move now to save yourselves. You must move now to prepare yourselves for the peril ahead. To delay is to open yourself to serious trouble, and there will be no one to blame but you. Lifeline Financial Programs has always been telling you that things will get very serious very quickly if you do not move now to prepare for what is coming. Nothing will get better. We are on a downhill ride. You must get up and move now to save yourself. It is predicted that you will be having serious financial problems soon. Will you sit and wait until everything has crashed then say, "If I had known"? Find us today at Lifeline Financial Programs. We have the best plans to keep you alive during the trying times ahead. Mark my word. You will remember every word I say. Don't wait until everything has fallen apart and you are running around like a chicken without a head. Find us at Lifeline Financial Programs today. We will help you find a way. Call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvlimited@gmail.com.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.